Intentional Optimism, Finding Purpose in Every Setback by Dr. Charlotte Wang. You can follow her on LinkedIn. Introduction. Optimism is rational. Maintaining optimism can seem like a naive luxury in today's increasingly volatile world. Yet precisely in these moments of uncertainty, intentional optimism, grounded in self-awareness, emotional honesty, and strategic action, emerges as a vital leadership asset. As futurist and science writer Matt Ridley notes, optimism is not about ignoring reality. It's about facing it with the belief that improvement is possible and worth pursuing. So optimism is rational. Too often, optimism is mistaken for a personality trait, something you're either born with or not. But in my experience, it's far more dynamic. It is shaped by temperament, yes, but also by adversity, reflection, and intention. It's not a default setting, it's a skill set that leaders, educators, and professionals must consciously cultivate. Beyond blind positivity, the psychology behind strategic hope. Philosopher Voltaire once described rational optimism as an active stance, facing life with courage, humor, and a commitment to betterment. That framing resonates with the work of psychologists like Martin Seligman, who popularized the term learned optimism. In essence, learned optimism is the idea that how we explain setbacks to ourselves shapes our motivation and emotional resilience. We're more likely to stay engaged when we perceive adversity as temporary and manageable. Albert Bandura's concept of self-efficacy, the belief in our capacity to influence events, builds on this perspective. Leaders and professionals with high self-efficacy are better equipped to navigate ambiguity, take strategic risks, and persist when progress is slow. Together, these perspectives help me redefine optimism, not as blind positivity, but as a cultivated mindset rooted in awareness, self-trust, and the willingness to act, even in the absence of certainty. My story. From emotional turbulence to internal agency. From an early age, I was described as cheerful and curious. My grandfather affectionately called me clever and content. Looking back, I now recognize this as an early form of dispositional optimism, the natural tendency to expect favorable outcomes. Research conducted by psychologist Charles S. Carver shows that this trait can buffer against stress. My optimism did not emerge in a consistently nurturing environment. On the contrary, my childhood was marked by frequent parental conflict. Holidays and school breaks, which are often filled with joy in other households, became sources of anxiety in mine. I found refuge at my grandparents' house, which became my sanctuary, a place of peace and emotional stability amidst the volatility at home. There, I learned that even when I could not control the external environment, I could create an internal one, what developmental psychologist Ann Maston calls ordinary magic, resilience built through steady, accessible sources of support. Regardless of my external environment, the insight that optimism could be generated internally became a cornerstone of my approach to life, leadership, and learning. I discovered how to reframe pain, find emotional anchors, and choose forward motion, even in moments of uncertainty, from disposition to deliberate practice. As I matured, optimism evolved from temperament to strategy. It became a practice fueled by Bandura's self-efficacy model. I turned to techniques like cognitive reframing, small goal setting, and focusing on what's within my control. These weren't just coping tools. They became strategic instruments for sustaining progress under pressure. Educational psychologist Barry Zimmerman's work confirms this. Individuals with high self-efficacy persist longer, navigate setbacks more effectively, and are more likely to turn intention into impact. This mindset matters deeply in high-stakes environments, boardrooms, classrooms, or crisis moments. Operationalizing optimism. 3 practices to build resilience. Optimism is not a theory, it's daily work. It's not about being fearless. It's about being willing to notice your thoughts and actions while remaining grounded in what truly matters. Here are 3 evidence-based strategies I am offering in this article to help leaders and learners alike bring optimism into practice. 1. Awareness. Notice and reclaim the narrative. Optimism begins with self-awareness. What story are you telling yourself when things go wrong? Do you believe the setback is permanent, personal, or out of your control? Seligman calls this your explanatory style, which determines how hopeful or helpless you feel. Begin by listening to your inner dialogue. Challenge the thoughts that exaggerate failure or erase your agency. Ask yourself, is this the only way to view the situation? Try this practice. At the end of the day, write down one setback you encountered. Identify your immediate interpretation. Then write an alternative explanation that leaves room for growth and agency. 2. Agency. Focus on one thing you can do. You don't need to have the whole plan. You need one action. Bandura's work on self-efficacy shows that when people believe they can influence outcomes, they're more likely to persist, problem-solve, and recover from setbacks. When life feels overwhelming, agency comes from narrowing your focus. What is within your control today? Your words, effort, and next decision. Try this practice. When stuck, ask, what is one meaningful thing I can do right now to improve this situation? Then do just that. 3. Meaning. Reconnect to what grounds you. Optimism draws strength from purpose. Viktor Frankl's work reminds us that meaning, even amid suffering, fuels endurance. Your sources of meaning don't need to be dramatic. They must be personal and consistent. Whether helping someone else, learning something new, or creating a daily gratitude ritual, small connections to meaning help restore perspective and hope. Try this practice. Make a short list of the values, people, or rituals that keep you grounded. Revisit that list when doubt surfaces. Optimism as organizational competency. Optimism isn't soft, it's strategic in fast-changing environments. It enables persistence, cultivates trust, and strengthens culture. Organizations that build spaces for psychological safety, goal setting, and reflection are more likely to foster what we at Integral Advantage call inception mindset. The ability to grow through, not just go through, a constellation of changes, endings, and new beginnings. You do not have to be fearless to be optimistic. You must be willing to pay attention to your thoughts, take possible actions, and stay rooted in what matters most. This insight has profound implications for educational and organizational contexts. Cultivating environments that promote self-efficacy and resilience may enhance well-being and help people thrive despite the unpredictability of modern life. At its core, optimism is not about seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. It's about seeing the world clearly and still choosing to believe you can make it better. That belief isn't naive. It's foundational. We trust you enjoyed this thought-provoking article. Please feel free to share it on your favorite social media platforms. Subscribe below to be notified of future articles.